We now move into the business of the meeting itself, and I have been asked for a slight change, so we'll start with the local board input first, and I welcome to the table the Henderson Massey Local Board Deputy Chair Brenda Brady. Thank you. Morena, Brenda.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm speaking to the Te Ata 2 item that's confidential at the end of the agenda. I'm just really speaking to our resolution. There were mainly all of the board agreed on the safety issues that we were looking at. At the moment, the trucks are backing up, the delivery trucks are backing up into the car park to do their deliveries. And that was concerning us. The other safety issue was because we have had no opportunity and no funding to do a streetscape plan for Te Ata 2 Peninsula, the proposed truck outlet area is actually, if you know, Te Ata 2 is just alongside the Te Ata 2 Community Centre and Library. And there is a pedestrian crossing just there as well. So our other issue that actually swayed the vote the other way, because it was a split vote, but no issue, just people voted different ways, was the safety issue of the big trucks coming out into the middle of our main street when we haven't actually done any work on our streetscape, and there is definitely work that needs doing. We acknowledge that the Te Ata 2 is growing. There's a huge amount of infill housing going in there, and the unitary plan is allowed for even more. If you have any questions.
Right, thank you, Brenda. That was short and sweet.
Yes.
Questions from people. Councillor Henderson.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, Te Ata 2 Peninsula is a peninsula, hence the name. But I'm wondering if it might assist the committee if you just explain a little bit about how people get around in the peninsula. Do they drive? Do they bus? Do they cycle? What's the situation there?
Commuter-wise, particularly morning and evening, being a bit like Devonport, but nowhere near as big, it's a little cul-de-sac. So there's heavy traffic through Te Ata 2 Road, through that main business and town centre area. And we're very aware we do have work to do there, but AT hasn't put it into their budgets, and we can't see it happening now with our budgets at the moment for quite some time.
Just a supplementary, thank you. In terms of cycling, walking, what's the active mode situation?
There's a lot of people cycle and walk. It's the same with their access to the shops, their access to the parks. It's a very flat, relatively flat area, so that's very popular. And at the moment, there's no provision. No formal provision through the town centre for cycling and walking. There's just the footpaths.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Thanks for putting the board's position. Did the board get a full representation from AT and from the developer prior to making this decision?
We had two different workshops around this. And Helen and her team came to speak to us at one of the workshops. So it did, with COVID being in the middle, it did come back to us several times over the course. And my understanding is that changes were made to this design based on our comments from our first workshop. I do understand that I was involved in the Waitakere days. The proposal way back then was that the licensing trust who owns the land behind the Countdown supermarket, where Helen owns the Countdown supermarket, they were going to put in a shared vehicle bay through there. But Countdown is going ahead with its rebuild, and the licensing trust has no plans. So that opportunity has been lost to actually direct traffic away from the main street.
Second question is, how is the board feeling about the revamping, upgrading of the actual facility, the supermarket in the first instance?
It's very necessary. We accept that. There's a big population increase, and it's a very old supermarket. It's well used by the community. The shops on the corner have already been rebuilt, and alongside that, the footpaths were rebuilt by Helen and her company at the same time.
The last question, Madam Chair, is Te Atatu Road the widest road in the peninsula?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's really the
No, it
it's really the only main road because it takes you to the interchange at the motorway, State Highway 16.
Okay, so that is the most direct route for heavy traffic to deliver goods and services to the shopping centre at Te Atatu.
Yes, yeah, I understand that.
Thank you.
There are side roads because there was a bypass built by Waitakere.
Councillor Cooper.
Brenda. In terms of, the comment by the Deputy Mayor about the widest road, can you just describe the town centre, how wide that is or not? And also just your plans for, because it's been long wanted, we had one of the first cycleways in the region further down, but we've never managed to get it in the main street because of a lot of congestion issues. Can you just talk about that pinch point that is the town centre and how we envisage that we'll get cycling through there?
So it is very important for us to get cycling through there because people do come and cycle into the town centre and shop. The old history is that the upgrade of the streetscape wasn't done because there were 7 properties that from the old titles actually went right out over the footpath. So the public footpath had about 7 properties in Waitakere's day that needed their title sorting out before a full revamp could be done. So it goes back 10 years. There are now 3 left, I think. That title issue hasn't been sorted. And that's one of the reasons we keep finding that council officers and AT keep putting us back from looking at doing streetscape work because there's actual issues with infringement onto the footpath. We definitely want cycling and walking and a friendlier area through the main street. It's growing very quickly. They have diagonal parking, and then on the other side in front of the library is the bus stop and other places to stop. It flows okay during the day. It doesn't flow morning and night with peak traffic.
You wouldn't be alone on that one. Councillor Hills.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Deputy Chair. Just a question on and I guess it's in confidential, so I'm not sure how much we're supposed to be talking about it anyway, but the reconfiguration that would need to take place outside the library. Has the board and the community been across that? Are they aware of what needs to be taken away, how that looks to change?
Okay.
And is it the board that would have to approve building something different onto the reserve there?
Okay. The resolution to bring, you've got the resolution on your agenda. I don't recall the wording, but it was that for whether we supported or we didn't support the sale of 300 square metres at the back corner in the car park, which is at the back corner where it meets Countdown, and that was lost by a vote in our local board area. To do this piece of work, my understanding is the public walkway beside the library community centre will actually be improved. A better wall will be put up, there'll be lighting and parking, but it still comes, the truck lane will have electronic gates, but it will come out onto the main street just about. Probably the main door of the library community centre is about 50 metres from where the truck exit would be.
I'm talking about more about the other side. It triggers a movement of car parks.
Oh, okay, yes, sorry, I didn't understand. Yes, so the offer to us was that we lose 7 car parks and they're part of the consent for the Te Atatu Peninsula Centre and Library. They have to be moved to the other side of the car park. So they'd go and take a strip of park alongside the existing car park. So it's, if you can imagine 7 car parks, that's the movement. It's a bit less than 300 metres, I understand.
I've seen the design. I guess my point was just is it your understanding that the board would have to approve any, if this decision, a decision got made today, then is it your understanding the board would have to decide because it's your park?
My understanding that the resolutions come to you now for a decision. I don't know, I do not know the way that has happened, because you make the decision relating to sale of property. And then if we have to redesign our park, I presume we have to go ahead and redesign it alongside the developer paying for those changes.
Thank you.
So I'm not sure on the way the matter is dealt with technically within property sales and council and parks.
Thank you. Final question, Councillor Dalton.
I found my answer in the report. Thank you,
Good.
Chair.
No worries, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Brenda, thank you very much, Madam Deputy Chair, for your presentation and answering the questions. It's a bit hard because obviously we're discussing this later, but I appreciate you coming in today and thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.
Right, I'd like to thank Brenda for coming in, seconded by Councillor Henderson. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Right, now we move into public forum and